Come on in, pull up a chair. We'll be your entertainment for the next hour. I'm Craig. That is Logan. We are No One Asked Us, another live episode of No One Asked Us here. Get in the chat, give us a like, give us a subscribe. All those good things are on the screen where you can see all of my scorching hot takes that everyone always agrees with and are always very rational. They're all on my Twitter, which will soon no longer have the blue check mark.
Thank God.
Thanks for joining us. Logan, how you doing? Good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm thriving and surviving. I don't know, maybe surviving and thriving. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to report on. I'm good. Everything's good.
A year ago, I was in Florida, so I'm not as happy as I was then, but
Yeah,
we're good.
that's fair. I'll be honest, I'm pretty excited for the weather we're about to get this week.
It's
I've
80
seen
degrees here
some
today.
80 there. I saw we're going to be in
Yeah.
the 80s next week, I think. So
It's
pretty
coming.
excited about that.
Summer's
Spring
coming,
is-
which means
Spring is
baseball.
here.
We're
Baseball.
going to talk a little bit of baseball.
I don't know if you know or not, but baseball has started, Craig.
Baseball has started, yes.
Yes.
But basketball is now over. We're going to talk a little bit about
Yes,
that.
it is.
Not technically.
Yes, it is.
The basketball that we care about, as I'm wearing a Bulls shirt, the basketball that we care about is over.
Almost wore a Pacers shirt, so that would have been very fitting had I actually put that shirt on.
Did not know you had Pacers gear.
I got it when I went to the Pacers game a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, whenever it was.
Nice. Anyways, thanks for joining. Give us a follow, give us a like, and subscribe. That's the most important thing. Who cares if you? I don't care if you follow us on our social media. Like and subscribe to this channel. Like this video. Continue to grow this channel as we try to become your go-to source of the fans for Illini.
Oh,
how about that?
Is that what we're going to be?
We're not insiders at all.
Did you just make that up? The go-to,
just off the cuff here.
Go-to voice of the fans.
Sure.
Okay,
we get in the chat and we'll see what we can do.
We can workshop that. I like it.
I don't know that there's anything else we need to intro, so let's just get right into it. Illini basketball, the carousel continues of this roster. We had 2 transfer announcements this week. One of them was very much expected. The other one I kind of saw coming. The rumors had cooled off a little bit over the last month. But RJ Melendez announced that he is transferring. He is in the portal or going to be in the portal after 2 years at Illinois. Like I said, middle of January, it looked like a foregone conclusion. He was not playing well. That's putting it lightly. He was playing terribly. Then the last 2-3 weeks of he flipped the switch. I always mess that term up. He flipped the switch and really put in a couple good weeks, especially in the postseason. And people thought maybe, he played well at the end of the year. Maybe he does stick around. Brad really spoke highly of him at the end of the season. Did not turn out to be the case. RJ announced that he is entering the portal. He averaged 6 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 0.9 assists on 37.6% shooting this season. Stats, 3-point field goals, 26.4%. That is not ideal. Not good. Rough year for RJ. He did start 18 of the 32 games. Brad stuck with him. You can't blame this staff for this one. They gave RJ every opportunity. Even when no one wanted him to get those opportunities, they stuck by him. Just wasn't working.
This is one of those topics that I wish I would have made notes of throughout the week, because I've had various thoughts that have come up about RJ, and now none of them are going to come out very fluidly because I'm not really thinking about it. But yes, this staff gave RJ all the chances in the world. Brad was, I thought, incredibly supportive of RJ. Some players and some coaches, when a player goes through what RJ went through for most of this season, some coaches would just bench that player. It would just be it. Like, you're struggling. You can't figure it out. We have other players that can do this. You're not going to see the floor. That is not what happened with RJ Melendez. RJ Melendez, shy of the suspension he suffered for like a game or whatever. At what point, he was on the court every game. He was thrown into the starting lineup several times, as you talked about. I believe he was thrown back into the starting lineup when Jaden Epps went down with his concussion. Brad kept going to RJ. He kept going to him over and over and over and over again. I know that the one game that sticks out to me, I mean, I think he was the one that took the shot against Indiana at the end. I know people were up in arms about that. Why is he the one taking that shot? I backed him then. I backed that decision. I was fine with that in that particular moment because I do believe RJ Melendez is one of the better shooters on this team. I have been one of RJ's biggest online supporters the last 2 years. I think that I was one of those people in the camp that thought he could have had a sophomore breakout. Clearly that didn't happen. I would love to see him stay. But with all that being said, I think this is probably the right decision for both parties. When it comes down to it, yes, the kid, I do still believe has a lot of talent and could be a beneficial piece. But it's been 2 years and we just haven't really gotten much out of him on a consistent basis. He's shown flashes at times his first 2 years. There has been moments this last 2 years where he's looked like one of the best few players on the team. But from a consistency standpoint, it just hasn't been there. Grand scheme, bigger scheme of this is the fact that this is yet another it's another loss. Regardless of who the player is and what the player does on the court. In this day and age, you need to be able to find some sort of consistency. And this is just another example. Another brick in the wall. I mean, it is what it is. It sucks. And, hopefully he figures it out and has success wherever he goes. But that one is going to sting a little bit. Now, it's April 4th, and the transfer portal situation is going to be going
a long way to go
for quite some time. So a lot of things could still happen.
Yep.
But that was a piece that you would have liked to have seen stay.
Yeah, so. I mean, right before, like preseason last year, I believe it was on this podcast, as we do every year, we were like, who are you most excited about in the freshman class? Or who do you think has the highest ceiling of the freshman class? Yeah. I think we both said RJ.
Yeah.
Of RJ, it was RJ, Luke Goody, and I believe Pajimski, who 2 of the 3 are now gone. I think it was clear cut. RJ had the highest ceiling. He's the most athletic. Wasn't the best shooter. Goody was the best. Well, we thought Goody was the best shooter. It looks like Pajimski's the best shooter now. But we both agreed that RJ had the potential to turn into a go-to guy, a college double-figure scorer, 7-8 rebounds. It didn't pan out. He started 1 game last year, but he averaged like 3 points last year. Like he didn't blow people away last year, and he didn't start doing anything till late in the year last year, and it just didn't click this year. Just didn't click. Like you said, it's going to sting a little bit. But I think a lot of people saw this coming. The other transfer is, I think most people expected, and it's not that big of a loss. Brandon Lieb announced that he is transferring. He played 3 years at Illinois, played in 31 total games, 16 of those this season, 0.9 points a game. Just did not contribute anything on the court during the regular season. He got valuable practice time, going against Kofi and Dane and all those guys. So wherever he lands, I'm sure he's looking to play. So he's probably going to go down a level so he can play a la Jermaine Hamlin type situation. So that's not a super big loss. But at that point, as it stood, 7 players currently on the roster.
Yes.
7 players.
Correct.
After this, they're currently on the roster. 4 of those contributed this season. Well, Yeah, 4 of those contributed this season. Because I'm just going to wrap it all together. About an hour ago, Sincere Harris did announce he is officially coming back. Volume 2, as Logan would say, because like hours after Illinois lost to Arkansas, he put out the tweet, "I'm locked in, 100%, I'm staying," and then hours later it was deleted, which caused some concern. But I was tipped off to this morning by someone that he was going to make an announcement today, and he did that about 5:00 Eastern time. So Sincere is back. So there is 7 confirmed players coming back. We didn't hear anything from Ty Rodgers, but I 100% expect him to be back. I don't know that he's a guy to make an announcement like this, which we've talked about last week. It's crazy that everyone has to make an announcement now. I'm coming back or I'm going, but I don't think we'll see anything from Ty. But I think he is back. So right now you've got Harris, Goody, Rodgers, and Danger, 4 guys officially coming back to be on the team next year. You've got Coleman Hawkins and Terrence Shannon. Hawkins is declared for the draft while maintaining his college eligibility. We have not heard a peep out of Terrence Shannon. So there's 6 right there if you count them. And then you have your 3 freshmen in Amani Hansberry, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, and Nicolo Moretti. So 9 if you count them. That's without taking any transfers. How you feeling after the last 2 days?
I mean, most of it was kind of expected. I will say about the Brandon Lieb situation. This is the one thing I'll say. I'm not surprised, and he is probably doing the right thing for him. He's going to go somewhere where he has a chance to play more. That's ultimately what he wants to do. He got the experience he needed, whatever. I would have liked to see him stay for depth purposes.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because let's say hypothetically Coleman comes back. You already have Coleman. If you have Coleman and Dane and Hansberry as your post presence, I know the talk is that they need to add another post player, but I don't know where those minutes are going to come from. So I don't know. That's the only thing I'll say. I think that Lieb staying would have put you not necessarily in a better situation, but he's probably somebody that wasn't going to expect the minutes. Maybe that a transfer might. Whatever. That's just nitpicking things. The Brandon Lieb thing, he's gone, and that's fine. Good for him. Sincere, happy that he's coming back. Like the energy he brought defensively. I think he has potential to be to do a little more offensively too. He was huge in certain games this year. He was non-existent in certain games. He was a freshman. Grand scheme, how do I feel? I mean, about the same, honestly, about where we were last week. I don't think any of this is surprising. The RJ thing, as you mentioned, I think, towards the end of the season, we thought he might be the type of player that would stay. It's still just the waiting game. It's still going to be the waiting game. This is the portal situation we live in. A lot of uncertainties out there. This team could be lower tier Big Ten. They could be Big Ten contender, and we have no idea what the roster is going to look like a month and a half from now, whenever portal stuff dies down. So we'll just have to see. Glad the guys are coming back. You're right. I don't think we're going to see a full announcement from Ty Rodgers, but same thing for Luke Goody. I don't think Luke Goody was that type of person that was going to make a big announcement either. He just happened to go on the radio with Tay and Piper, and they asked him, and he told them. So I mean, if Ty Rodgers went on the radio with them and they asked him, he'd probably tell them too. So I don't think we're going to get a big announcement from him. I mean, we've talked about it. It's a point guard. You need a point guard. You need a shooter. You would maybe like to have another post presence, somebody with some size. But again, if Coleman comes back, I'm not sure where those minutes come from.
Right.
And then we'll just wait and see on the Shannon and Hawkins front. We just don't know, and we don't know who else is going to come up in the portal. So I don't know that my thoughts have really changed from where we were a week ago. The RJ thing sucks. Kind of saw it coming, kind of didn't. Move on. You move on. But the portal has been active.
Yeah, portal has been very active. I will say, looking at the roster as it's currently constructed and the depth chart for next year, I don't hate it as much as I thought.
No,
With
I don't hate
Sincere,
it.
Luke, Ty, I mean, you'd have to play a freshman, but with Sincere, Luke, Ty, Hansberry, and Dane, I don't hate that 5. I really don't.
Say that again.
But Sincere, Goody, Ty, Hansberry, and Dane.
I mean, that's not a 5 that's going to win
That's
you a
not
lot
going
of
to be the
basketball
starting 5.
games.
No.
Okay, you're just saying
But
those are the 5 that be back. I was like, okay.
those are the 5 that are back.
Sure.
I will say, from what I hear, I'm pretty confident Terrence Shannon's coming back.
I've gathered some of that
Coleman
as well.
Hawkins seems leaning towards coming back as well. So you throw those 2 in there, you're getting pretty good. Like, it's not as bad as we think.
I mean, I haven't taken the 2 of them off of my depth chart for right now.
I got them at the bottom.
So they're still there. And so when I'm looking at this lineup, I'm still looking at them. Obviously, the point guard thing is the biggest thing. If you get a big time point guard and you get Terrence and Coleman back, yeah, I mean, I think you're set up to contend. I don't know if you're winning the Big Ten, but I think you got a pretty good shot. I mean, it's not that much different from what we had last year. So don't know what you're going to get out of your new freshman. Obviously, injuries come into play here. But as of right now, if Shannon and Hawkins come back and nobody else leaves, you have 8 rotational pieces that you can go into the season with. You'd like to have 10. One of those is going to be a point guard. The other one, TBD. Could be a shooter, could be a post, could be another point guard. Who knows? But I mean, the Shannon and Hawkins thing will be big. Why hasn't Terrence Shannon declared yet? We don't know. That's not been established. I don't know, and I'm sure we'll find out soon what he's doing. Those announcements are coming out on a daily basis. So he'll probably make his announcement soon. I would still venture to guess that he's going to announce that he's going to test the NBA waters and maintain his eligibility.
Did he do that last year though?
I don't know.
Do it twice.
I honestly, I don't know. Did he?
I don't remember. That's why
I don't remember what he did.
I don't remember if he just said
know.
I'm transferring or if he did the NBA transfer portal, because that's the conversation we had with Kofi.
Yeah.
Was once he did it a second time, he was done.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has changed with the new portal and the NBA just signed a new CBA and all that. I don't know if that's changed, but my thought is, why hasn't Shannon declared yet? This is from Jay. Question from the chat. If you're in here, get in the chat, get some questions for us. One is that he's just coming back. There's no reason to declare if you're going to do that. Or 2 is that he's still just gathering the information, what he should do. Yeah. I think those are the two options. Well, Coach Steve, will get to you in a second because he's asking about the portal. And speaking of the portal, pretty big week, pretty big 3 days in the portal. We'll just start with the biggest one of them all. Logan's favorite man, Hunter Dickinson, Michigan big man, Hunter Dickinson is in the transfer portal. What is happening in Ann Arbor?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that was a big surprise. The Hunter situation, though, I mean, Michigan, they're not really winning. They're losing their other good players, and I don't know. I don't know what his reasoning is. But clearly he wants to go somewhere where he thinks he can make more money and win. And he's going to want to play with a true point guard, somebody that can get him the ball. We've seen that in a few Big Ten teams this year. Post players who are National Player of the Year candidates at times struggle to get the ball thrown to them. I don't know. I don't know what Hunter's going to do. I would venture to guess he's going to go east, get closer to home. I believe he's from the DC, Virginia area, something like that, Maryland. I would guess he goes there. I could see him going to a place like Kentucky. If Oscar leaves, I could see Cal getting in there and say, hey, we can bring in here, make a shit ton of money and get you a National Player of the Year.
Whoa, language.
Sorry. Let's just throw it out there too. I don't think he's ruling out Illinois. I don't. And that's not happening. I'm not going to sit on this show and tell you he's coming to Illinois. He's not. I can say almost with certainty he's not coming to Illinois. But you and I did have this conversation offline today. He clearly stated, like, you know, he'll listen, and I think
he'll listen to anyone.
Yeah. If Illinois gets a point guard, why not? It's not happening. I'm just firing it up. I'm just firing you up. I'm firing Steve up. I'm firing anybody up. Why not? It's not happening. I'll just say it now. Like it's not happening. But why not?
What's he? If Coleman, Terrence, and Dane all come back, you can only play 2 of them at a time.
I mean,
no, you can play all 3 of them. But if you add Hunter, like where does he fit?
He doesn't fit. He only fits if Dane leaves.
Yes. So, Illinois needs a backup.
What would you rather have? What would you rather have? Hunter for 1 year or Dane for 2 more years?
Exactly. There's no room for Hunter at Illinois. After all this, well, you've already said this. After all the shit he said about Illinois, if he comes to Illinois, I mean, I try to root for anyone that's wearing the uniform, but I just don't know that I could do that. I really don't.
Sports, man. Sports. He's just playing the villain, dude. Like that's just all he's doing. Like he's not my favorite person. I know you were joking when you said that. He's not my favorite person.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not think he's coming to Illinois. But like if he did, like why not? Why not? Anyway, move on. There's other people that
I don't know
that might actually be better fits.
I don't know which one's bigger. Max Abmas from Oral Roberts, who led are they the Screaming Eagles or Golden Eagles or something like that?
You should know these things. I
think it's Golden Eagles. That's my thing. That's my dozen trivia niche. He is in the portal, averaged like 20 points his first 3 years. And Baylor guard LJ Cryer, also in the portal, which you stole my tweet. I was going to tweet it and I didn't. The Waco to Champaign pipeline. It's been pretty good. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
So I think LJ Cryer at the moment should be priority number 1 for Brad Underwood. He played a little bit. He was more off the ball at Baylor because they had that 3-headed guard monster with LJ Cryer, Flagler, and George. Is it Keontae George? Is that his name? The 3 of them are all very similar and are all kind of off-ball guards, but Cryer averaged 15 points a game this year, shot 45% from the field, and I believe 41% from 3. Yeah, 41.5% from 3, shot 46.8% from 3 last year. I mean, like I said, he was off-ball, and all the reports out there on the Twitter sphere say he wants to be a point guard, so Brad would need to kind of hand the keys off to him as someone who hasn't always been a playmaking point guard. That's a little concerning, but the dude is exactly what you need. He's a guard that can get buckets, get his own shot, and facilitate an offense. And I don't know how you say no if he wants to come to Champaign. I think right now, what's out there, I think he should be top priority.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know if he's like the perfect fit for what Illinois needs. But considering what the options are likely going to be, considering all the circumstances surrounding him as a player, where he's coming from, who had recruited him in his past, the position that he plays, as good as he is as a shooter, the position that he wants to play, yes, I think he's the guy you need to go after. I would love to say they need to go out and get a true point guard, like Kyler's mentioning, like a Tiger Campbell. I'm not suggesting they need to go after Tiger Campbell, but like a true facilitating point guard. I think that is more important. However, you need somebody that can shoot. And depending on what happens again with Terrence and Coleman, I don't know how many roster spots you're going to have. Yes, there are still 4 scholarship spots open.
I was thinking about that today when I was doing the scholarship thing. There's if Coleman and Terrence come back, things shrink a lot more than we expected them to.
Right. you still have your 4 scholarships open at that point, but you really only have 2 rotational pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
There's
know
3
where
spots to
I don't.
fill.
Yeah, I don't know how that all
Yeah.
fits. So
Yep.
yes, I would almost prefer they get a true facilitating point guard. But if it's not a true facilitating point guard that can also shoot the 3, I don't think I want him. I don't think that fits. If Terrence doesn't come back, you can open up more conversations. But if Terrence comes back, I think you're going to need to find somebody that can do both. And if you're given a little bit of one, I think Ty Rodgers is going to develop into a guy that can actually handle the ball. Yep. We've already talked about that a few times here. I'm not saying he's going to be a primary ball handler his sophomore year, but whatever. But at this point, yes, RJ Kryler or LJ Cryer, God,
I had to change that on our rundown because Logan doesn't know the guy's name.
That's the name of an actor, I think, is RJ Kryler. Because I always do that, and I think that's where you go. I just think it makes the most sense. So
we'll get to Coach Steve's question here. Curious to see how Underwood adapts to the transfer portal world, build a team with the portal, and hope they mesh well, or try and continue to do what he is doing now and what he knows. I don't know that. I think he learned a lot this year. I think he learned a lot this year by not having a. How do I want to say it? The Sky Clark situation, Jaden Epps situation, made Underwood rethink how things go. Okay, thanks, Logan.
Just want to prove my point. That's why I get the guy's name mixed up.
It's actually a link to a RJ Kryler.
He was in the Power Rangers movie. Yeah,
I think Brad Underwood learned. He's adapting.
He did.
And I don't know how to answer this question. I think any coach is going to have to mesh, 3 or 4 transfers every year with whatever high school recruiting class comes in, and just hope they mesh. And this year it didn't work with Illinois. It just didn't work.
This is not a Brad Underwood Illinois specific thing.
No.
This is a thing that all of college basketball is trying to figure out. Where it's hitting Brad the hardest is that he has probably seen more guard turnover than anybody else, than a lot of other teams. But this is happening everywhere. Everybody is having to figure out the right mix of how to do this, how to build from the ground up, bring in freshmen, but also filling gaps with guys that are talented transfers that can also fit your mold, fit your program. It's going to be a learning curve, I think, every step of the way. But yeah, I think Brad learned a lot this year with the freshman situation.
Yep. I just think every year, 70% of high major teams are going to have 3 or 4 transfers that come in that you're going to have to mesh with the current guys. It's just the way we're at in college basketball. Okay. The only other thing, Illini / Big Ten, Trace Jackson Davis is not using his extra COVID year. He just announced that he is going to the draft. Not surprised whatsoever. In my opinion, he was the best player in college basketball this year. Zach Edey's just tall. Trace Jackson Davis is the best player. So there's that. Illinois doesn't have to deal with Trace Jackson Davis anymore. The UConn Huskies are our national champion, Logan. I got to switch our graphic here. Where we at? They're the national champ. One of the most dominating tournament runs that we've really ever seen. I mean, it from game 1 to the Final Four. I think the closest game was 13 points, and that was the national semifinal game. Just an unbelievable run. I still remember it. I went back last night and tried to find the episode where I said it or when I said it. I remember on this show, it was right before or right as Big East play was starting. They were still undefeated. And I asked you if we needed to start talking about them going undefeated on the year. I couldn't find the show that I said that. Do you remember me saying that?
Yeah, I think sort of vaguely.
I was really high on them, and then they struggled in the Big East, and I didn't notice it until last night on SportsCenter or whatever after the game. They did not lose a single game to a non-Big East opponent this season. Every single one of their losses was the one loss in the Big East tournament to Marquette. All the other ones were Big East regular season. They didn't lose to anyone that didn't play in the Big East. Just an absolutely a crazy run. Crazy run. One of the best runs we've seen. And it's so UConn because you had the Kimba year where they did the same thing in the Ryan Boatwright year where they did the exact same thing. When UConn wins the tournament, they just demolish everyone and are on a tear.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was a weird year in college basketball. There was never a clear best team in the country. There was a handful of teams, 8 to 10 teams all season long that everybody thought could win a national title. I think UConn was in that discussion. Only reason they were a 4 seed is because they struggled in the month of January and knocked them down. It's one of those things where the best teams don't always make it, but once you're there, and I think somebody else said that too, but it's true. Like they just ran through the whole thing. They did not see an opponent that threw them off. Who all do they have to go through to get there?
Iona, St. Mary's, Arkansas, Gonzaga, Miami, San Diego State.
Yeah. That was a favorable run.
Favorable run. Very not the toughest run.
Not to take anything away from them.
Yeah.
They
demolished all of them
as the national champion, and they just demolished all those teams. But that was a very favorable run for UConn.
The best seed they played was a 3. That was Gonzaga in the regional final.
Correct. No, they were good. They were one of the best teams in the country all season long. They struggled for a month, but they deserved it. They deserved to be there. San Diego State plays good defense. Could not shoot a basketball last night to save their life. And that's how it ends. It's how it ends. 4 over a 5. Good UConn team. I don't know how we'll look back on this UConn team 10 years from now. If we'll even remember who was on this UConn team or what this UConn team did. What will be the most memorable thing about this tournament? I mean, is it the 16 over 1?
I just went back through my records. UConn was 6-0 against the spread on this tournament run. 6-0. Rode with them every single game.
Proud of you.
So they won me some moolah. I think the most memorable will be another 16 over 1 and FAU, and like no top 2 or 3 seeds in the Final Four, and no top 2 seeds in the Elite 8.
Yep.
I think that's the story of this tournament.
Yeah, not
you know
UConn.
Me, I'm not about that life. But
surprised you even watched the game last night.
Had a lot of money on it, so had some interest in that. But on our rundown here, I asked the same question last night, and I think it's an obvious answer, and Logan has it on here. Why aren't they a blue blood? I think now they 100 million% are. Before last night, I thought they were like that next tier, which I think we talked about last week. Now that we're talking about it now, I think we talked about UConn last week as being that just below the blue bloods, but I think they are firmly 100%. You can call UConn a blue blood of college basketball after last night. 5 national championships since 1999.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
I mean, that's the most in the country in that span of time. I mean, I certainly think they're in that discussion. We don't necessarily think of them that way because, as you talked about, it's the way they do it.
Yeah.
They kind of fly under the radar a lot. They're not necessarily getting the best players in the country. They're not the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the North Carolinas and the Kansas that are, consistently number 1 seeds, top teams in the country, playing in the Final Four. Like UConn is either Final Four or doesn't make the tournament. I mean, that's pretty much been who they are. So I do believe they are in that blue blood group. I still think they're probably second tier, if you're doing it that way. But yeah, I mean, They have more championships than literally any other team in the past 20 whatever years. So, yeah, there's no way, no way you can't put them in that conversation for sure.
So since 2000, they missed the tournament in 01, 7, 10, 13, 15, and then 17, 18, 19, 8 years. Since 2000, they missed the tournament 8 years. That's a lot for a blue blood program.
That's the thing. Like, they're not all like, I mean, Kansas and Carolina and Kentucky and Duke aren't doing that.
That was my next question.
They do miss
if I
the
asked
tournament,
you
but
straight up, who are the college basketball blue bloods? Give me your list. Blue bloods. The blue bloods. I have 6, I think.
I mean, it's Kansas, Kentucky, Carolina, Duke. I mean, UCLA historically is in that mix. They haven't necessarily been the most dominant team in the modern era, but they're good. I mean, they're historically the best team out west. So I'd probably put them in that conversation. I mean, are you putting Villanova there? Are you putting UConn there? I still think it's crazy that all these teams we're talking about are blue.
I know.
Is Gonzaga in that conversation? They haven't won a national title.
Haven't won a title.
But
They're not a blue blood.
Okay. So, I mean, UCLA, Gonzaga, or sorry, UCLA, UConn, and Villanova a 7th?
Is that list
how you would say it?
The list that I texted out last night.
Indiana in this mix?
The list that I texted out last night, Duke, UNC, Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA, Villanova, UConn, and I did put Indiana with a question mark after it. So I had 8 with a question mark. Villanova and Indiana are right on that cusp. Like, I understand arguments for both. Indiana has done nothing of relevance since 2002 was their last national title appearance. So they're falling. Villanova was coming up, but now Jay Wright's gone, and they had a bad year this year. So can you really still call them a blue blood? So I think there's a good 6. I think Duke, UNC, Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA, and UConn are lockstep blue bloods. And then Villanova, I mean, Michigan State, probably close.
Yeah, they'd be
to a blue blood.
Group. Yeah.
And Indiana are right there. One of my buddies said Louisville has flirted with it, but
I would agree with that.
I mean, that's
literally what
the
I was
COVID,
thinking.
The year before the COVID year, I think the year before the COVID year or the COVID year, they would have been like a 1 seed. So we'll see how they respond after this year, but those would be the next level. So, okay. Anything else? Men's basketball?
No. All right. It was a fun year. It's a fun year. Let's do it again in November.
The women's tournament was hella exciting. 9.9 million viewers for the national championship. I think I saw that's more than any NBA Finals game last year, which incredible. And they were 2 really good teams. Iowa, Caitlin Clark, the most entertaining player in all of college basketball, men or women, that I've seen in a long time. Like that, it's like Jimmer Fredette levels, Steph Curry levels.
Steph Curry,
yeah, to that extent, probably even better. And went up against just a wagon of LSU, which, full transparency, don't watch a lot of women's college basketball. I do watch more now than I did because Louisville is a stellar program. Being down here, and Illinois was better this year, so I watched more. But LSU was like 33-2, and they were a 3 seed.
I didn't understand that. I don't know.
And it's not like they're a Murray State or SIU 33-2 with a weak conference. They're in the SEC and they lost 2 games and they're a 3 seed.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I'm gonna need somebody else to fill me in on that one because I was having the same exact thought. I was watching these games. I did not understand that at all.
Yeah, but the championship was mid-afternoon, Sunday mid-afternoon, just adrenaline rush. 102 points from LSU. It was a basketball watcher's dream.
Yep.
It had everything.
Bad officiating. But
had everything.
It had everything. Yeah. I mean, a lot of points, man. 180 whatever combined points. That's something you don't see in college basketball, especially men's side, very often.
Yeah.
No, it was entertaining in the least. That Iowa team, Caitlin Clark, obviously the best player in the country. Her team around her, good enough to get them there. But that LSU squad that she put together they're an issue. Then they put up a lot of points on Sunday. No issues there. The officiating obviously is a concern, but we've talked about officiating in college basketball a lot this year, so I don't think we need to dwell on that. That is a system-wide issue that needs to be addressed from the top down. But that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It was definitely more fun than the men's Final Four games and the championship game combined. So,
but
the drama was
that
after
said.
The drama was after
the conversation of women's basketball now is not about the awesome basketball that was on the court. It was about the last 15 seconds where, for those that don't follow, Angel Reese, who was named most outstanding player, best player on LSU, gave Caitlin Clark the John Cena, "You can't see me," hand in front of the face, pointing to her ring finger saying, "Give me the ring," whatever. And people went off on Reese for bad sportsmanship and all of that. Given the reason she was doing it is Caitlin Clark did that to Louisville in the regional final. I think specifically to Haley Van Lith. So Reese was reciprocating what Caitlin Clark did 2 games prior. Way overblown. It's basketball.
Caitlin Clark is the biggest trash talker in sports. So, why are we getting upset that somebody's doing it to her? The only thing I will say is I feel like she went tad bit too far, kind of following her doing it. I thought that was a little too much.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I can definitely see. If that's what people are upset about, okay, that's fair. But just the fact that she was doing it, absolutely not. Caitlin, that person that's arguing that clearly has not watched Caitlin Clark play much basketball this year, because that's just what she does. She is electric. She is talking trash. She is doing all sorts of motioning to the fans. That's just who she is. She's the best out there, and she knows it. So the fact that she can give it, but she's not supposed to be able to take it, that's a terrible argument. She took it very well. She went on TV today and basically said, "I'm cool with it. It's fine."
Yeah.
I just, it's fair.
When she did it, it was going into a timeout. So they were the teams were crossing, going towards their benches.
Yeah.
And she just gave a real quick, "You can't see me." Yes. What Reese did was, as the clock was winding down with 20 seconds left, she sought out Caitlin Clark, got in her face and did it. And then Clark started to walk away, and Reese kind of followed her and kept doing it. I don't know.
That part is a little much. That part's a little much.
But it's a 20-year-old girl in the national championship. Get over it, people. It
sucks that that's the thing we're talking about, because more people than ever are watching women's basketball, other than and that was an amazing 2 hours of basketball, of entertainment. And it sucks that the things we're talking about are the cocky celebration at the end and the poor officiating. That's just that's just bad. That's just bad for the game, and it's unfortunate for the game, because that was otherwise an electric basketball game. But it's unfortunate that's what we have to talk about, because people can't seem to get over themselves. I get it. It was probably a little too much, and that's fair, but who cares? Move on.
What I didn't like, I feel like LSU at times did come off a little classless. Not in that situation, but on the podium, some of the things they said, and the way that they carried themselves in the win, I didn't appreciate. But a team takes after their coach, and Kim Mulkey is a pretty bad human being. So I can see where that comes from.
Hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
she's a controversy in herself. So
if there's no one I would less want to win a basketball game, especially a national championship, than Kim Mulkey. She's just a terrible human being. So players take after their coach in some situations. Yep. Any more basketball? Or are we putting a bow on it for the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, I don't think we're putting a bow on it for the rest of the year because the transfer portal,
the actual basketball,
bumping for the next.
Although I was going to say this, I hate rooting for Iowa, but it would have been awesome to say that Illinois women's basketball beat the women's basketball national champion.
It's true.
That would have been sweet.
That is true. Tis true.
Go ahead. Anything else basketball?
Nope, that's it. I think.
Okay.
Great season. Great season. It's nice to have Illinois women back in the conversation.
They did have one player into the portal.
They did, yes.
Odom,
hopefully,
I believe,
and a head coach leave or assistant coach
and
leave
a coach
as well.
leave for Yep.
But hopefully, what she's doing there will keep that going for Illinois, get them back in the tournament year after year because that's what they need. And the men will be fine. Brad will build from the portal, and they will have another team capable of making some noise in the Big Ten and making the tournament again. I don't have any doubt about it. We'll just have to see what the roster actually looks like.
Yep. All right. We'll quickly recap the first week of baseball season. How are your Cubs doing? 2-2? 1-3?
Yeah, they're
fine.
Like I think they've won. I don't even know. 2 games maybe. Dansby Swanson looks like the player they paid for. But that's honestly about it at the moment. I've only really watched a little bit. I watched opening day and I've watched a little bit here and there. Again,
you don't have Marquee.
Tired of fighting with that Marquee app. God, it's so annoying. I'm not as upset about it as Nico is. Nico is very upset every day because I at least have the ability to mooch off of my parents to watch it. But Cubs are 1-3. Lost to Cincinnati, lost 2 out of 3 with Milwaukee. It's early. We'll see.
Top of the first, bases loaded.
Yay. I don't know. It's fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah. For me, the concern I had last week on the preview is what's coming up. There's just the pitching. Starting pitching is just atrocious for the Cardinals. I mean, they took 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays, which is outstanding. Should have won all 3. You got beat 10-9. Gave up 2 in the 9th to the Blue Jays in Game 1 to lose that one, and then you just get annihilated by the Braves last night. There's just no starting pitching. Jack Flaherty, 5-inning no hitter, but 7 walks. Like, I'd rather have 4 hits and a walk than 7 walks no hit. Yeah. There's just. It's going to be fun because their games are going to be like 8-9. So there's going to be a lot of runs scored.
Yeah.
But it's going to be frustrating because if you just found that 1 or 2 starting pitching pieces, it would be so much better. But it's a fun product at least because the offense looks phenomenal so far.
Going up against Dylan Dodd tonight.
Going up against your boy, Dylan Dodd.
The pride of Bismarck. Dylan Dodd throwing for the Braves. So
I saw Andy Olson's there.
I saw that
for WCI, which is really cool. Really cool.
A lot of people are going to be there from that area. I think Bismarck shut down school like 1:00 today because they didn't.
I saw they didn't have enough selling buses. Tickets or something. Yeah.
Well, they didn't have enough buses to get people there and get students home from school if they didn't dismiss early. So they just shut school down at 1:00 so that they had the buses to get everybody to St. Louis that wanted to go. So
yeah, that's awesome. Dylan Dodd, Bismarck guy, making his debut today. Jeff Lindgren, Champaign guy, made his debut last night for the Marlins. I believe he's I don't want to get this wrong. I want to say he was Centennial.
I think he was Centennial.
I believe he was a Centennial product. Pitched it, I think Illinois State, I believe. He made his debut last night in relief of Johnny Cueto, who got hurt in the first inning. I was watching that game, actually, and he came in. I think he threw 5 innings, gave up 5 or 6 runs, I believe, but a couple Central Illinois guys making waves in the MLB, which is awesome. Awesome Pretty to cool. see. I covered both of them. I don't know if I ever interviewed either of them, but I definitely remember shooting highlights of both of them and seeing them, as you can imagine, for me, that's always fun.
Of course. That's awesome.
What do you think of the rules? I saw Jeff Passan put out some stats this morning about the first weekend and how 28 minutes games are 28 minutes shorter, I believe. Stolen base attempts are doubled.
Yep.
The first series, which
those
is
are the
awesome.
two.
These are great.
Those are the two biggest things that are going to be different. I know people are already complaining that the length of game is cutting down on the ability to drink as much. And that's what some teams are actually concerned about because they can't make as much money.
Well, and ads.
And ads.
The radio and TV guys can't get their ad reads in time.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, it doesn't change the commercial breaks, but yeah, the ad reads, that makes sense. I mean, from a baseball fan perspective, I think it's great. I think games are gonna be so much shorter. You're gonna see a lot more stolen bases, which is great. You're already seeing it. I love it. I mean, we'll see if things change throughout the course of the season, but I do not think that this will be a bad thing for baseball when it's all said and done.
Yep. All right. We introduced this last week. We're going to do it again. Our top 5. We don't have a name for it. We're just calling it top 5. Logan doesn't like the topic this week. I came up with it.
It's not that I don't like the topic this week. I think it's a great topic this week. I just didn't have a ton of time to prepare for this. And this one required a little bit more research than what the last one was for me. Maybe you have this stuff going on in your head, like you can do this pretty quickly. But I think I have a good 5 here, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, are we drafting it? I figure we can't double. So if I take one, you can't take them.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
So you only have 5 listed?
No, I mean I have more than that, but. Oh boy. Okay. I wasn't prepared for that wrinkle.
So our top 5 this week is best NCAA men's basketball champions since 2000. So the 22 teams that have won the national championship since 2000 is our pool to pick from. We're each going to take our 5 favorites, but we cannot double up. So if Logan were to take the 1997 national champion, I would not be able to take that team.
Okay.
Logan doesn't like it, but he's going first.
It's not that I don't like it. I was not ready for that. Okay. So
I'm
going to pick first. So we're doing this draft style. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we just lost like 10 viewers once we started doing this. Come back.
People obviously don't care about this.
Get in the chat. Let us know who your favorite or who you think
nonsense. Okay. I'm going to take the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats.
They were number 1 on my list as well.
I think they're the best college basketball team of the past 30 years. Did you say we're doing this? We're no earlier than 2000. Did you say
2000.
that? 2000
is the early cutoff.
So yeah, the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats, 38-2. That was a team with Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Terrence Jones was on that team. That was that was an electric basketball team. Just ran through the tournament, ran through the country all season long. 2 losses is pretty tough to do.
It is wild that that's Kentucky's only national championship of this window.
Yeah. Well, because I was thinking they had another one, but I forgot that other team.
They got upset.
Win. Yeah. I forgot about Wisconsin beat them. Because I think I thought
not even in the championship, and
that was the better team, I think, but they didn't get there. So yeah, I'll take that would be my first pick. Okay, yeah, Kentucky 2012.
I have 2 here that I really want, so I don't know which one you're more likely to take next, but I'm gonna go 2001 Duke.
Okay,
with Shane Battier, Carlos Boozer, Jay Williams. That's like right when my college fandom started, and they were so good. They were so good. As a college basketball team, they were obviously I had them number 2. So they're one of the best teams I've ever seen. So 2001 Duke, they went 35-4 and beat Arizona in the national championship. That's my pick.
They were high on my list when I was considering the best. I was also considering my favorites, and I just hated rooting for Duke. So I wouldn't have had them on that particular list, but yeah.
I'm curious to see if there's one team that gets picked here.
That was a pretty good answer. All right. I have to look at my list here. I'm going to go with this team solely for the fact of what they did in a repeat season. I'm going Florida. I'm going the Florida repeat team in 2007.
Dang!
The fact that they were able to run it back, that's just something you don't see. You don't see that in college basketball.
That was the other one I was going between.
Of course you were. I mean, it's the obvious choice. They ran it back. You don't see that. Brewer, Horford, Noah, like, come on. Dagger. I mean, that's the obvious choice. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. You gave it to me. I'll take it. 2007 Florida Gators. Billy Donovan, heck of a team, man. All right. It could get fun now because my list, you may not be.
I thought there was a clear top three.
Yeah.
I thought those were the clear top three, and then a little bit of a gap. I'm going North Carolina here. 2009 North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm going with Tyler Hansborough's North Carolina team, 34-4. Beat Michigan State by 17 in the national title game. I remember where I was when I watched that game, weirdly enough. And I think it's mostly because of Hansborough. I think he was like he's like the Tebow of college basketball. But I think that's one of the best teams to go through since 2000.
Okay, that's a good pick. I'm going to go real old. And I'm going to go back
Sparty?
all the way to the beginning of what we're going off of here. I'm going with
Sparty?
The last Big Ten championship team, which is incredible.
Okay.
It's just incredible that the Big Ten has not won a men's basketball championship since 2000. But I'm taking Sparty. Mateen Cleaves, Mo Peterson, Jason Richardson.
I forgot about Jason Richardson.
That was, again, you talked about the 2001 Duke team. That was that era.
Yeah.
That was the era that we started watching basketball. So I remember that team. Obviously, they played in the Big Ten, so they played Illinois, but I remember that very vividly. So they may not be the best, and you may have other picks ahead of them, but they're just the team that sticks out to me. So I'm going to go with 2000 Michigan State.
I had them at 14 of the 22.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Now we're getting into the weeds here. I'm going to keep it pretty recent. 2018 Villanova. Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo,
that's fair.
Mikal Bridges. I believe they won I saw this on the article that I did my research on. They won every game by double figures, similar to this year's UConn team. They didn't have the flashy championship that the previous Villanova team did, but I think top to bottom, this team was better. Villanova 2018 is where I'm going.
I like that pick. I had them. They were on my long list. Okay. I don't know how you feel about this one. You may not like this pick, but I'm going to take them anyway. I'm going to go 2004 UConn.
I had him at number 9.
Okay.
I had him pretty high.
Ben Gordon, Emeka Okafor, Charlie Villanueva.
Forgot about that name.
Yeah. That was
should have been in Illinois.
Yeah, that was a good team. That was obviously right before the Illinois season. That was just a fun team to watch. That was their first title that we've talked about here. That was started the run, I think, right? 2000. What year did I say? 2004. Yeah. Yeah. That I'll go with that. 2004 UConn, great basketball team, and a lot of fun to watch.
I'm going to just put a dagger in both our hearts here.
Yeah, they were on my list too.
Yeah, you got to go 05 North Carolina.
Yeah,
Sean May, Rashad McCants. I honestly had them as the number ranked 5th on my list, but I didn't want to take them. I did not want to take them because of who they beat, but they're definitely a top. They're a top 5 college basketball team since 2000. We just have orange glasses on and didn't want to have them included in this.
No, they were my next pick. They were going to be on my list. When with the original format we were going with, that I thought we were going with,
Oh,
I was still going to pick them. So,
okay.
yeah, I mean, I think they were clearly one of the best teams of the last 20 years, because the team that they beat is also one of the best college basketball teams in the last 20 years. And you don't
Maybe
see
that's the next
that.
one. The
You
best
don't
teams not to win a national
see
title.
that very often, where it's truly two great teams like that meet in the national championship game.
Yep.
Okay, so I get one more pick. My 5 original picks are all off the table now, so I'm gonna have to go rogue here. I don't have really anything recent, but I'm looking at these recent winners. 2012 is my most recent. The team I want to pick is not recent. I'm just looking at these recent ones, seeing if there's somebody there. Like none of these, I don't feel like any of those recent ones are going to stick out to me. That's the thing.
There's one I think you could pick. There's two you could pick that I would not blame.
There's one I'm considering, but I think I'm going to go rogue. I'm just going to go old again. I'm going to go Syracuse, 2003.
Okay.
Carmelo, Jerry McNamara. That was that mellow year. Like that was a fun team to watch. I'll go Syracuse, 2003.
Okay.
And I'll leave you to pick whichever new recent team you want.
That's not what I have on here. Isn't a recent team.
Oh, okay.
If I go by my rankings right now of who I would pick if in the order I have them, it's not a recent team, but I might go recent.
You do what you want. It's your world.
I'll go old school. 2002 Maryland.
Yep. I had them.
2002 Maryland. Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, 32-4 was their record. Beat Indiana in the national title game. Do you know who beat Indiana as well that season?
Illinois.
The Hoosiers made a trip to Carbondale.
Oh,
the Salukis beat the Hoosiers at the SIU Arena. You know who was there?
You?
This guy. I was.
That's awesome.
I was
forgot
there.
about that.
Yep.
Forgot that was that season.
Yep. Indiana made a run.
Who was on that Indiana team?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm going 2002 Maryland. This isn't about Indiana. 2002 Maryland. Juan Dixon, just a baller, a college basketball legend. Steve Blake, dropping dimes. That's. I think that's where I'm going to go. So
I like it.
Logan has 2012 Kentucky, 2007 Florida, 2000 Michigan State, 2004 UConn, 2003 Syracuse. I've got 2001 Duke, 2009 UNC, 2018 Villanova, 2005 UNC, and 2002 Maryland. Only 2 of the 10 after 2010.
Why is
we went a little old school?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I mean, is it just because those are the teams
know.
we remember growing up watching?
Probably.
I mean, I think there's a whole theory now about the one and done system. I think it's changed a lot of this stuff. I think a lot of these players aren't as memorable because they don't stick around as long. And I don't know. I could be totally off base on that, but it is interesting that we both went primarily.
For those listening,
older.
comment who do you think is the best national champion since 2000? We just gave a list of 10 who we think are the best 10. Each pick 5. Who do you think is the best college basketball national championship since 2010? Post 2000 or since 2000. Post 2010, who's next on your list? Who's the most recent, high pick on your list?
Well, the only one that neither of us picked that I had high on my list would have been that 2008 Kansas team, but that's not recent.
That's not recent.
Because they only lost 3 times. Recency, Virginia was the one I was considering.
Okay.
Just for what they did the year after they got bounced by a 16. To play the way they did, that was a really good team. They only lost 3 times that season too. If I was going to pick any recent team, I mean, what this UConn team did this year was impressive. The way they ran through the tournament and blew out everybody. So I have to consider that, but I just that team in general, I just don't think there's anything we're going to remember about that team.
That's what kept me from not picking them, because
they were good, but again, there just wasn't a clear dominant team in college basketball this year. It certainly wasn't them. They were good. They were good all season. They had a bad month and did what they had to do with a fairly moderate difficulty to get to the final.
Yeah.
So
when we decided on this topic, I ranked all of them 1 to 22. And going into this, I had this UConn team at number 6. And then as we started drafting, I was like, you know what? These other teams are better than them. So I went rogue and went off. I had 2021 Baylor at number 10.
Really? Okay.
28-2.
Yeah, that was a really good team.
And they blew the doors off Gonzaga in that title game.
Yeah, those two were far and away the best 2 teams in the country all season long.
I had 2015 Duke at 11 and 2019 Virginia at 12.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
My bottom 2 were the other 2 UConn ones, 2011 and 2014.
Where did you have the UConn team I took?
Number 9.
Okay.
Number 9. I had them top 10.
Okay.
Yep. I had them
All
top
right.
10. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll come up with something else next week. Probably not basketball related because basketball season is over. Although I do have one more basketball topic that I really want to do. But we'll get to that later. Okay. Let's close up shop here. Anything else from you, Logan Lee? You got a big movie day tomorrow.
I'm excited. Very excited. Mario and Air.
Air has great reviews.
I'm excited for both. It's going to be a great day. Did you see the Barbie trailer? Holy smokes.
I saw Dua Lipa's in it, though, and sign me up. And Margot Robbie.
Quick thoughts on a live-action Moana movie.
Why?
Exactly. There you go. That's all we need. Thank you.
I'm assuming The Rock is going to be this, going to reprise his role.
Yes, of course. Yeah. You can't tell The Rock no. So, well, here's the thing, real quick about that. They've pretty much already gone through most of their animated movies at this point, at least the ones that are going to make them $1 billion. So we're to the point now where if they're trying to do all their live action remakes, that's going to make them a lot of money. And you have The Rock, so let The Rock be The Rock. That's all I got.
I guess that's
live action Moana.
They've done all of them now.
They've done a lot of them. I mean, there's the run of Hunchback, Pocahontas, Hercules, Tarzan haven't been done yet.
Yeah. Tarzan has been. There's been live action Tarzan.
Yeah, but not like Disney.
By Disney.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway, all right, that's it.
All right. Ted Lasso's great. Watch Ted Lasso.
Love Ted Lasso.
I mean, we've been watching a ton of stuff. I don't watch Succession. We've been watching a ton of stuff, though. But all right. Anything else?
I don't think so. Happy to be here. Right.
That's Logan. I'm Craig. That's Logan. I'm Craig. We will see you again at some point next week. Thanks for watching.